Hi guys, I'm Georgina. The theory that I did for this research paper is the expectancy violations theory by Judy Burgoon. Expectancy violations theory was created and researched by Judy Burgoon, who is a communication scholar, and she goes into depth about personal space being possessed by a person. Expectancy violations theory is an expectation of one individual's idea of an appropriate personal distance between themselves and others, and how people respond to their personal space being violated by others. So people usually expect or predict a certain behavior that is going to happen when they're interacting with others, and if a violation happens to this expectation, it can either be taken positively or negatively. So we have a different opinion on personal space with the people we have relationships with compared to total strangers, because you know this person, and you most of the time when you have relationships with someone, you are comfortable with them. So personal space between the people you have relationships with is very different compared to total strangers. So Burgoon explains that there are four interpersonal distances, which are intimate distance, which is 0 to 18 inches, and that is fairly close to your face. And then there's a personal distance, which is 18 to 14 feet. And then there is a social distance, which is 4 to 12 feet, and a public distance, which is 12 to 25 feet. There are three core concepts to expectancy violations theory. Number one is expectancy, number two is violation valence, and number three is communicator rewards valence. So expectancy is what people predict will happen rather than what they desire. Violation valence refers to the positive or negative value we place on a specific unexpected behavior, regardless of who does it. What this means is that we first try to interpret the meaning of the violation and then figure out whether we like it. Communicator reward valence is the sum of positive and negative attributes brought to the encounter plus the potential to reward or punish in the future. When one individual interacts with one another, Burgoon believes he or she will assess the positive and negative attributes that person brings to the encounter. If the person has the ability to reward or punish the receiver in the future, then the person has a positive reward valence. Rewards simply refer to the person's ability to provide a want or a need. The two topics that I want to talk about that I personally found very interesting while I was researching and what I came across on my research. Well, first was the cultural aspect. According to the article titled Cultural Do's and Don'ts in Asia by Adam Hodge, published in 2016, Adam states that Asia is the largest continent in the world with a population of 4.463 billion people. And if you are a tourist that is visiting Asia, and if you are coming from the United States, you might feel a little claustrophobic. So what this essentially means, and what Adam really goes into depth about in the article, is there is no concept of personal space in Asia. It is highly overcrowded. The concept of personal space just does not exist, because when you are walking through the streets there, especially areas where there are food vendors, it is highly overcrowded, and you are basically shoulder to shoulder to people, a very intimate distance, and there is no concept of personal space, and that is what people in Asia are used to. However, in America, the unspoken social norm is that we keep a personal distance between completely total random strangers and ourselves. Another thing that I found very interesting was a study that I came across, and it's an article titled Being Unfriended on Facebook, an application of expectancy violations theory by Jennifer L. Bavin, published in 2018. She states that Facebook unfriending is a distinct form of relationship termination that occurs only in an online context, and is an increasingly common option that is exercised by Facebook users. what Bevan really goes into depth about in this study is that people usually unfriend others. There can be for many reasons, but it's crazy because expectancy violation theory is tied into this. It is tied into social media. So if you are friends with someone on Facebook, it could be a long-term friend, it could be an acquaintance, a coworker, and so on. If they are violating your expectations of a good friend on Facebook, so for example, if they post too much, if they are sad too much, if they post inappropriate photos of themselves, this is a violation to expected behavior of how someone acts on social media. So these are violating your needs and you don't want to see it. So I just found it really interesting that it was tied into social media and how expectancy violation theory is everywhere. It's not only about personal space. Expectancy violation theory is an important area relevant to the field of communication and to society because it is essential to understand the concept of personal space and how each individual has a different outlook and feeling towards the invasion of their space being violated by others. These violations, as mentioned before, can be positive or negative, and it is extremely important for people to understand boundaries and how they can affect yourself and others. The major conclusions that I have reached based off of my research is that expectancy violation theory is everywhere and it goes beyond just someone invading and violating your personal space. It has a lot to do with where and how you grew up, and it is a part of everyone because every single individual on this planet is different from one another, and we all have different expectations on certain subjects, space, context, and more importantly, what we expect out of one another. So thank you for watching my video. I hope you learned a little bit about expectancy violation theory. Bye.